Hi, my name is Belial and this is my comparison of the Dell S2340L IPS Glossy, the Dell U2312HM matte 23-inch IPS, and Asus VS238H-P TN 23-inch. So, the main comparison really is that the S2340L and the Dell U2312HM are pretty similar. One difference I'd say is that the U2312HM has deeper blacks, while the S2340L has more vibrant colors, just barely. If you watch this video, you'd really best see it in sky. The sky looks a little brighter on the 2340L. It looks a little bluer, and sand looks a little redder and deeper on the S2340L. You know, watching them side by side, I really can't tell one's glossy or one's matte, except maybe sometimes I catch a small reflection. On the Dell S2340, you can kind of see it on this video. You see my my half moon reflection of a window on a door. You know, the reflection really doesn't bother me. I don't really notice it in my office here. I don't know if you'd notice it in other places, but it doesn't bother me. You know, so I mean, it really looks like the Dell S2340L looks a little bit better than the U2312HM. But there's a lot of ways that the U2312HM is just a little bit better of a monitor overall, and we'll go over those. The Asus VS238TN panel, it looks really washed out compared to these other two monitors, even the U2312HM. It just looks like it's in a shadow or something in comparison. You know, the color's a little more washed out. And we'll go over more things, but overall in general it's a lot worse of a monitor, really. So, I mean, you can just kind of see the comparisons here. Maybe you can notice the deeper blacks in the U2312HM. They look a little grayer in the S2340L and the Asus. So so here I'll go over some more videos. So that was just a standard HD video I pulled off YouTube. Here's a StarCraft video. You can watch a lot of vibrant colors in this, and it's a lot of fast-paced movement. So again, you can kind of see like the sand looks. You can see it here really. The sand looks a little grayer in the U2312HM. That background is a little more redder, a little deeper on the S2340L there. So that's really the most noticeable difference. Just colors just pop out a little more in the S2340L. And then maybe you can compare the blacks here, but here it looks a little deeper on the U2312HM, the middle monitor. Blacks look a little deeper. So, I mean, watching them side by side, they really look identical, but you can kind of see in the sky and ground usually just the colors pop a little more in the Dell S2340L. And, oops, I didn't even start this one. 52. So, and then again, you can kind of see the Asus just looks a little darker. I've really messed with a lot of settings on these monitors. I think I've tried to optimize as much as I can and make them look really identical as much as I can, but even as much as I've done with Asus, I really can't get it to look more popping. Here you can kind of see, you know, I guess the color's a little more vibrant on the Asus versus the U2312HM, but it just looks so much darker. You can see that it just really doesn't matter too much, I feel. The brightness is really cranked up on all three of the monitors. I felt like it looked better when I cranked up the brightness. When I had the brightness down, all three of these monitors have PWM, but I really didn't notice it. I guess some people are more sensitive to others, but I never noticed it. I waved the pencil in my face, never noticed anything. So, you know, and then you can see that the black levels are really weak on the Asus. But, you know, we'll go over more of the differences. So, just, you know, let me just speed it up to maybe later in these games. So let me see here in 20. So just, really comparing these two monitors, it just looks like the S2340L is a little more vibrant, a little more popping than both of these. So here you can see a lot of action going on them. So, alright, so then to bring over some of the synthetic tests and stuff that I ran here, you can see on a white background, the Dells really look pretty similar, and the Asus just looks kind of Asus looks a little, just a little washed out. Not too much difference in the two Dells on the whites. Bringing up the blacks, that's really where the U2312HM kind of shines a little more. It looks a lot deeper, I feel, than the S2340L. It could be maybe part of the gloss, I'm not really sure, but it just looks like the black's a lot blacker on the middle monitor here. And then on the black's really not that great on the Asus. So here's a ghosting test I pulled up. Now this is the one instance where the Asus actually does the best in. I think it's the Asus TraceFree pixel overdrive that they have, but you can see, almost no ghosting. There's a very little bit of ghosting on the middle one there, just a regular ghost on it, but you can probably adjust that a little bit. On the middle monitor, the U2312HM, there's a very slight negative ghosting on the middle and bottom ones. And the S2340L has a little more ghosting than the U2312HM on all three of them. So, and every aspect almost you'll see the U2312HM is just a little bit better than the S2340L, and the Asus is just a lot worse in most regards, except the ghosting. So here's contrast levels brought up. You can see between the two Dells, very little difference between them. And then the Asus, you can kind of see it in the red band here. It all kind of looks the same in the purple band too. I've messed with the contrast a lot and just really can't get it any better than this. Just the contrast is really a lot worse on the Asus than the two Dells, which are pretty similar. Here's a sharpness test. You're supposed to squint your eyes and kind of sit back at a distance. I don't know what you guys can do about that on your end. But the Dells, again, they both seem, pretty good on the sharpness test. And the Asus, not as good. It's not really that bad on the sharpness though. Here's going by black levels, and both the Dells are pretty good here. You can see all of the blocks, you see all these blocks, and you can see them pretty clearly on all of these. But on the Asus, you really can't see up to, from here all the way over here, all these blocks you really can't see. You can't see almost half these blocks. So it's just a lot weaker of a black. So, okay, now going by the white levels, again, the Dells are pretty good. You can see them all. The last one, it's super faint, so maybe they don't have the best whites. I don't have a better monitor to compare, but on the Asus, you can't see any of them, and it's just awful. So, and then response time, going by response time, to start these tests. So here you can see a little bit of flicker in these three, maybe these five, those edges, a tiny bit of flicker. And if you see the color, it really matches up most with the lower band here. And the lower color it matches, that's a better. You'll see it. So here on the Dell, on the U2312HM, you see just a little less flicker, I think. I think the color that it flickers is a little darker, so that's kind of better in comparison. Just a little better, not much. Both of these monitors is very little. It's very quick response time in general, real world response time. I know that they have official specs on their response time, but it's there's certain things that they do to alter that artificially to make it better than the actual response time, and the Dells are supposed to be really good in this regard. Anyways, you can see the Asus looks just, it's doing really bad in this test. Every block is flashing. They're flashing a bright color. to flash. The darker is the worst, but you can see it's more colorful flashing, which means it's a lot worse. You can see a lot more of these boxes are, boxes on the left are flashing. So, the Asus really stands out as a lot worse in this test, and I'm not sure what the official response time number is. I'll link it in the comments, but it's definitely a lot worse than these other two monitors. And then going by viewing angles, you can see right off the bat, even when you're looking at the Asus head-on, that it's weird. Now, it's supposed to be a flat color here. You can see in these two monitors, it's a pretty flat color head-on and at angles, but the Asus, you're looking head-on, and it's still distorted. And it gets really bad when you change angles. It starts to turn from purple to like a lavender or something here. And these two monitors, it really doesn't matter what angle you look at. I feel like it's the same no matter where you look at it. Maybe they're not perfect, but just you can see that viewing angle really makes a difference in this monitor versus the two Dells. Anyways, that's my test of these three monitors. Pretty much in every regard, Asus is a lot worse, except ghosting. Now, I haven't noticed anything like ghosting or response time issues or input lag on any of these monitors, when I've used them. I've used the middle one the most, but I haven't noticed it at all on any of these monitors. They're all pretty solid monitors, I guess you could say, but just the Asus being a TN panel or what, it's just clearly much worse. The Dell is obviously, the U2312HM is obviously the best. The S2340L kind of looks a little better. It might have to do with the glossy coating, which you can remove. You can remove the matte coating on the S2340L, but I personally probably won't do that. I want to avoid scratching up the monitor and stuff. And I usually do those kind of things, modding things, but it sounds like it just leaves your monitor too vulnerable when you do that. Now, here is some other differences between the monitors. Both Asus and the S2340L just have a single HDMI and then VGA connection, while the U2312HM's also got a display port. So that's really nice. So if you had three of them, you could hook up, HDMI to DVI, a DVI, and then a DisplayPort adapter. While the other two, you would have to get a DisplayPort adapter on it, and that's just a little more expensive than normal, DVI or HDMI adapters. Now the stand is far better on the U2312HM. You can spin the monitor super easy. There's an example of it. It just, it's by far better stand. It's pretty simple to do. It goes up and down. It's not like held in or locked in, but it stays in place wherever you slide it. You push it back and forth. On the other two, all you can do is is push it back and forth. They don't really feel as sturdy. The Asus definitely has the weakest base. You can kind of see it's just this tiny little thing, but it's alright. As for the bezels, S2340L has the best bezel. You can see it's got that zero frame. It's really quite nice. And then as far as bezels, the Dell U2312HM has kind of a matte one, a flat black, and then the Asus is glossy. I would say the Asus kind of looks a little better, but maybe you might prefer the matte of the U2312HM. I don't know. As far as depth goes, the Dell really looks, the U2312 really is the fattest. It doesn't incorporate a, this is the only one with the power supplies built in the monitor, but I feel like there's something else going on that's also making it thicker, because it's really a lot thicker than these two. So, I think the Asus has built-in speakers, or actually, it doesn't. It doesn't have built-in. Yeah, none of these monitors have built-in speakers. Anyways, that's the difference between the three monitors. I'd really pick one of these two Dells out of the three. And as for which one of the two, I guess I'd suppose I'd go with the U2312HM if you're gaming, or you hate, you don't like glossy monitors. And I would go with the S2340L if you just want better colors and pictures, maybe for general usage or watching movies and stuff like that. For most uses, I'll probably go with S2340L. Just the U2312HM if you need a faster kind of gaming monitor, maybe, or you want matte. So thanks for watching.